Hey everybody, this is Ade'Kamil, and this is Growing Through My Pain. Um, this is a series that I want to do just to connect with people who are growing and healing in real time. And I wanted this to be different from, how we experience, like I'm not going to call this motivational because I just feel like we're all growing together, and just to have somebody speak out about it and be vulnerable about it is a big step, not only for myself, but for those around me who may be doing the same thing, because it's not easy, especially this amount of vulnerability. And like, don't get me wrong, like I'm like really nervous, and this is like a step that I've never seen, or that I thought I wouldn't take. That's better said. So I just want to start this with, like, I guess, like, my story and like where I came from, and like I guess like the first pain that I ever experienced, and in many ways still experience this day. I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. I was raised by my grandmother. She raised me and my older 5 siblings, so I'm the youngest of 6. And I might as well just get right into it. My first experience of pain was the fact that just a few months after I was born, my mother passed away. So I've lived my entire life, you can say, without my mother, and that's been difficult, and in the most spottiest of ways, because for so long I didn't even acknowledge it. I knew that it was what it was. I knew my grandmother was my grandmother, and she raised me. She raised me to be the individual that I am today, and I am so ever grateful that I was blessed to receive her as a grandmother and to receive her love throughout my entire life, even to this day. But for so long, I didn't even acknowledge how that might have shaped me, and like how I was triggered, growing up. With my just interacting with my friends and stuff, because I had my grandmother, I had my oldest sister, I had my siblings and stuff, but really I've always had an emptiness, throughout my entire life. And one, so I said I didn't speak about my mother passing. I didn't really talk about it to my friends. A lot of my friends, when they find out, like, they're shocked, like, oh wow, they give me, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's one reason why I didn't want to do that, because I didn't want to experience that I'm so sorry for you, or I feel bad for you. Like, I wasn't receiving of that sympathy at all, and it was really weird when I got that, and even still weird when I get it today. It makes me a bit uncomfortable, but for so long I didn't acknowledge it. Like a block of my life, a block of my childhood. I knew it was there, but I ignored it. I didn't talk much about my mom. I had questions when I was a kid. I remember asking a few times, but it really started to hit me in my adult life, as things started to get difficult, as failed relationships started to happen. I started to realize that as much as I ignored it, I was also screaming out for it too. And that was like so weird to realize, especially with the way I was dating, and my love interests. Qualities that they had were almost motherly, and I thought that was rather peculiar, because I've never expressed wanting a mother. I give my grandmother all the credit, but at the same time I had to come to a place of realizing that I've always sought out the love of a mother, and like just never having that love, that actual bond between a mother and a son, really impacted my life in ways that only now are starting to open up with, only now are starting to be revealed to me. And so not having that love, and then finding out, that I sought it through love relationships, and I wasn't able to express that to them, that you know you have certain qualities that are mothering to like this inner child in me that always wanted a mother. And you know even now being conscious of that, it's like if I was interested in someone to explain that to them, is I would feel like they wouldn't receive it the right way. Like, no, I'm not asking you to parent my inner child. No, I'm not asking you to be my mom. But it's just certain qualities that I feel comforting, that comfort that inner child who never got to meet his mom. And so, you know, that pain, I think, is more present now, and because it's present, I'm having to deal with it in newer ways, and this is the most vulnerable way I know that I've ever expressed this. But the inner child in me always wants to know, like, that type of bond, that mother son bond, that I've seen throughout my entire childhood with friends and their parents, and even my siblings to a certain degree, experience some of that. I was too young, to really have a memory, like a solid memory of my mother. And that's, that sucks. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And that triggers me in many ways. And I just never had that. And that inner child screams for that. And it's more comforting to talk about it now, knowing what it is, versus when I was younger. I probably could have, you always think of, I could have dealt with it sooner or whenever, but I'm dealing with it when I'm supposed to deal with it, and I actually want to deal with it, and I'm in a space where I can handle it. Just like it's something that isn't. It's not that I can't handle it at this point, and every day isn't easy, because there are days, there are nights where I crave it more. That motherly touch, that motherly advice, that motherly hug, and not being able to get that, or never being able to experience that specific bond. I've come to realize how much that has played a part into the individual that I am today. And at the same time, that doesn't take away from, I also realize that doesn't take away from relationships that I've had that have given me that, and I've received, motherly love, motherly advice, motherly consultation, and those things, and I don't want to ever take away from, people who have given me that, because, all relationships are different. But just for so long, that's been like, that's like one of my core wounds, that only now am I trying to deal with, only now am I trying to heal. And I'm not sure how, how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to just do it. I'm going to continue to, talk about it. I'm going to continue to acknowledge it, and do all of those things. But, I think, I miss my mother dearly. Let me say that. And I really wish that I would have gotten to have, that I had memories of her, or that I could have experienced more life with her. But I wasn't able to. And, it's all part of a universal plan, and I know she's looking over me. I feel her presence, definitely, being her baby boy. Um, but you know, as this series goes on, I want to continue to express my pains, and pains in real time, and just like it's 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 a journey, and that's what this is about. Through that's what this is about too. Like growing through my pain is a journey, a journey that's happening in real time. I'm not faking anything. Like I'm becoming more in tune with my emotions, and how I'm feeling and feelings, and I'm experiencing new emotions and new feelings, and I'm in a better space of interpreting them better, and wanting to get to know them, and wanting to get to know that side of me. And also that comes with acknowledging things that I'm dealing with actively. And that's something that I've been dealing with my entire life, as I said. And only now, at 23, on the verge of 24, am I able to say that out loud. I hope this entire series, for as long as it goes, continues to provoke vulnerability, because I've never been this vulnerable in my life. I've never tried to be vulnerable. I've never sought being vulnerable, but as I grow through my pain, you grow through yours too, and we grow through it together. And that's all we can do with each other. So, signing off. This is one of many, and I definitely want to continue the conversation about growing through the pain of my mother actively, and want to touch on other impacts that may have had, and dive into how it played out, and talk about some other things that are happening and are active in real time. So, in due time.